Keys in Florida. As we connected virtually, I asked these folks if we can be connected by sunshine and temperature too. February is a hard stretch with winter weather. So if you are live streaming this morning, no matter where you're streaming from, no matter how warm it is there, we are so glad that you're here. Friends in the pews, let's take a moment to turn towards the camera near the welcoming congregation banner and offer our greetings to those at home. And now let's turn and greet one another.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you. My name is Stephen Parapelic, and Harris Gibson and I are today's worship associates. It's so good to be with you this morning, whether in person or virtually. We welcome your joy, your hope, your pride, as well as your grief, your fear, your anger, even the parts of you that are not ready to be seen and heard. Thank you for joining us. We who strive to share teaching of hope and peace, we welcome all in the doors, the joyful, the heartbroken, atheists and Christians, Muslims and Jews, straight and gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, all who are searching, seeking, looking for more meaning, service, and love. Whether it's your first worship service with us or your many hundredth time, we hope that you'll discover questions that stretch you and people to befriend you, and liberal religious values that challenge you to join us in loving boldly. Ministry is not just something ministers do. All of us, no matter our role, no matter our age, have a role to play in living into the mission of our congregation. This truth is especially reflected in today's service. Not only does it include me and Harris as your worship associates, but our pastoral care associates are also a part of today's worship team. If you are not sure what a pastoral care associate is, you will soon learn what it is. After the service, all are invited to coffee and conversation in the Sims room at the back of the sanctuary. Then at noon, our new book club will meet in the parlor to discuss our first book on repentance and repair, Making Amends in an Unapologetic World by Rabbi Dana Rutenberg. Now let us open our hearts and minds to the spirit of worship as the children's chorale offers a sung invocation. It's called Give Us Hope. And here they are.
invite Max and Maya Mulder forward to light our chalice? Okay. We dedicate the chalice with words by Vance Bass. Every day brings struggle. Every day brings joy. Every day brings us the opportunity to ease the struggle of another, to be the joy in another's life. May this flame remind us to carry our light to each other and to the world. In recognition of Lunar New Year, our opening hymn is number 353 in the Gray Hymnal, Golden Breaks the Dawn. Let us rise in body, rise in spirit, and sing.
I would like all those who are young and young at heart to come forward for a story. Welcome, everybody. Good to see all of your faces this morning. So I am here with Reverend Heather, as usual, and I have a couple other friends. I have one here. There's the other one. Here, I'll scooch over so there's room. So this is Sheila and Donna. Can you say hi to Sheila and Donna? So I have something else to show you. I mentioned invisible threads before, right? The invisible threads that connect us all to each other, even though we can't see them, right? So today I want to talk about visible threads. Take a look at this. Does anybody know what this is a picture of? The chalice, right. And I am embroidering this chalice. I originally planned to have it completely embroidered for you, and yeah, so I got this far. But, so yes, thank you, Lua. Thank you so much. So I didn't do it all, but I did some of it, and it was really satisfying to accomplish what I did. Did you ever have that feeling when you made something by hand? Is it satisfying to make something yourself? Yeah, I really think so. It was so satisfying. And maybe, what did you do? Did you do a drawing or a sculpture? Anybody? You sewed, yeah. Like weaving? Weaving, nice, yeah. Weaved another bag out of an old paper bag. Cool. These are all really cool. And when you're done, it's really, really satisfying, right? You know, I know that it makes me feel good. And you know what makes me feel even better is when I can give something that I've made to somebody else. Have you ever done that? Have you given things as a gift that you made? Yeah. So some of the things that I treasure most are like cards, handmade cards that my sons have made for me. I keep them in a special place, and I take them out and look at them all the time. Have you ever received something like that, something that someone made for you? Yeah, Otto?
I didn't get so satisfied, but
Oh.
music is like
A
a light deck.
light deck.
You have your arm,
At the Science Museum?
have your arm
Yep.
long enough you can each other and touch
Oh, so you made a special thing?
But it's not a big thing. It's just like a wand.
Oh, wow.
And when you touch it, it makes it
Okay. Wow, like with your hands. It's actually handmade in that way. Very cool. Very cool. So I'm sharing this chalice with you right now because in a few weeks, we're going to be providing the same cloth and needles and yarn for all of you to make chalices here while you're in church. Yeah. Yay! So you probably won't be able to finish it for the time that you're here once, but it will be here every week for you to work on little by little. And then when you're done, you get to decide what you want to do with your chalice. You might take it home with you and put it on your wall. You might give it to me to include in a secret project that I'll tell you more about later. Or maybe you'd like to share it with someone who's from church who's having a hard time. Maybe they're sick or they're sad, and your chalice just might be what makes them feel a little bit better. Does that sound like a good idea? Yeah. So do you remember I mentioned Sheila and Donna over here? So they are from a group of helpers in this church. And these helpers visit people who are feeling sick or sad or have some other reason why they can't come to church, or maybe they come to church but they just need a little extra help with something. And so that group, including Donna and Sheila, they go and visit with these people and talk and listen to them. And sometimes they bring a meal, or maybe they bring some flowers or a little gift like the chalice that Sheila is embroidering. Look at that chalice. That one is very different from the one that I'm making. Look at that. Oh, it's going to have rainbows. Nice. So they might bring any of those things, or maybe even just a listening ear and some sympathy. So it's a way for our church to stay connected, to support someone who's having a hard time, who needs extra help. So Donna is going to tell you a little something more about something that their group does.
So before the COVID pandemic, there was a group of ladies who started knitting what we call prayer shawls. And we would come together and we would sit in the parlor and we would knit. And while we were knitting the prayer shawls, we'd be thinking just healing thoughts or sending our love. We didn't really know who the prayer shawl was going to go to at that time, but once a year the congregation would bless the prayer shawls, and then they would go to people who were either, had a loss or were ill or something, and people would wear them around their necks, and it would make them feel cozy. I'm sure you all remember when you had a little blankie. And, it just makes you feel like somebody loves you and is thinking about you. That's right, a portable hug. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. So we're hoping that this will continue with the church. If there are people who like to knit or crochet or weave, you could talk to Sheila or me after the service. And this is going to be very much like the project that you guys are going to do, making the chalices. And welcome to the team.
And I invite the community to sing the children out to their religious education activities. The words are in your order of service.
We now come to the centering time in our service, settling in body and spirit. First through words, and then ritual. Kindling of the light, a time to light a candle of personal joy, sorrow, or concern, here in the sanctuary at the candle table, or at home. At that time, if you would like a candle brought to you in the pews, please raise your hand. After we kindle the light, we'll be together in a time of shared silence, out of which we will sing hymn number 1008 in the Teal hymnal, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. We begin our time of meditation with words by Jan Richardson. Blessed are you who bear the light in unbearable times, who testify to its endurance amid the unendurable, who bear witness to its persistence when everything seems in shadow and grief. Blessed are you in whom the light lives, in whom the brightness blazes, your heart a chapel, an altar where in the deepest night can be seen the fire that shines forth in you in unaccountable faith, in stubborn hope, in love that illumines every broken thing it finds. As we seek this brightness in our lives, in our world, let us all now kindle the light.
Reading by Auburn Sandstrom. The year was 1992. I was curled up in a fetal position on a filthy carpet in a very cluttered apartment and horrible withdrawal from a drug that I'd been addicted to for several years. My husband was out running the streets trying to get a hold of some of this stuff that we needed, and I knew if he succeeded, he was probably not going to share it. If I could, I would have jumped out of my own skin and ran to the streets, but right behind me in the room sleeping was my baby boy. In my hand, I had a little dilapidated piece of paper. I'd been folding it, unfolding it, folding it, unfolding it. There was a phone number on it, something my mother had sent me. Mind you, I hadn't been speaking to my parents for years about anything else. But she managed to get this number to me in the mail, and she said, "Look, this is a Christian counselor, and since you can't talk to anybody else, maybe sometimes you could call this person." I was emaciated, covered in bruises, desperate. I punched in the numbers. I heard the phone pick up. I heard a man say, "Hello," and I said, "Hi." I got the number from my mother. "Do you think you could talk to me?" I heard him shuffling around, probably in bed. You could tell he was pulling some sheets around and sitting on stuff. I heard a little radio in the background, and he snapped it off. He just became very present and said, "Yes, yes, what's going on?" I hadn't told anybody, including myself. Hadn't told him the truth for a long, long time. I told myself I wasn't feeling so good. I told him I wasn't feeling good. That I was scared that things had gotten pretty bad in my marriage. And before long, I started telling him other thoughts about myself and truths. I might have a drug problem, I said, and I really, really love my husband. And I wouldn't want you to say anything bad about him. But there was a time he pushed me and my child out into the cold and slammed the door behind us. But I love him. And don't say anything bad about him. The man didn't judge me. He just sat with me and was present and listened and had such kindness and such gentleness. "Tell me more." "Oh, that must hurt." I made that call probably 2 a.m, and he stayed with me the whole night until the sun rose. And I was feeling calm. I was feeling okay. I could splash my face with water, and I could probably do this day.
The author of this morning's reading, Auburn Sandstrom, tells a compelling story. Can you imagine taking that call? What could I offer someone in so much pain? I've never had an experience like this counselor, nor do I share the life experiences Sandstrom confesses to this counselor. But as a minister, I've been on both sides of this exchange. I've had the privilege of bearing witness to another's personal struggles. And because I am human, I've had moments, many moments, when I felt so overcome by life or by loss or a sense of being trapped or without hope. We all get to these places at some point in our lives. Regardless of one's tradition, spiritual communities meet many needs. They are places where people gather to understand and affirm life's meaning. They are places where rites of passage are witnessed, where social action is launched to turn the world as it is towards the world as it should be from the perspective of the faith, and where our inevitable existential loneliness is tempered by practical gifts of support and intangible gifts of companionship. One way the Winchester Unitarian Society ensures its members and friends are supported through life's challenges is through our Pastoral Care Associates ministry. We call the members of this team PCAs for short. Pastoral Care Associates make themselves available if someone is going through something difficult. Often these pairings are time limited and short term, yet for some of our members, they are isolated from community, homebound due to age-related infirmity. Their PCA helps keep them connected with the congregation and with community in general. In these situations, the relationship is often indefinite, concluding with the member's death. I've asked one of our long-serving PCAs, Vicky Cacaludo, to share some of her experience with you.
First, I'd like to say what others have said, which is that there are many in the Winchester Unitarian Society who provide pastoral ministry and not just the Pastoral Care Associates. I know this from personal experience, and quite possibly you know it too. When the word goes out that someone is ill, chicken soup may magically show up at their front door. If someone is recovering from surgery, offers of transportation may appear. This response may be due to the efficient work of our Meals and Rides coordinator, Gay Moorbacher, and her roster of volunteers, or it may simply be organic, meaning it will occur naturally in our community environment. In contrast to these short-term acts of kindness, Pastoral Care Associates, under the direction of our minister, Heather, provide an empathic presence and a listening ear, calling on those with longer-term spiritual need in their circle of care. As to what drew me into this role, about 10 years ago, when my husband Peter and I began attending services here, the PCAs, led by Karen Erickson and Sarah Delano, had organized an educational series on the subject of preparing for a memorial service. Topics included elements to be filled in the service itself and additional tips on how to manage hospitality to follow the service. The warmth of the PCA's calling to provide comfort and reassurance at a difficult time for those grieving made an impression on me. They also mentioned that members of the congregation can help out on these occasions, which sounded appealing. Why? Because like virtually everyone at some point, I'd also experienced the anxiety and confusion that come when there is a loss of a dear one, and decisions need to be made, and knew that that help must be really appreciated. Plus, the volunteers are given a way to express their care. We welcome new joiners to the Memorial Volunteers. Membership is open now and always. Less public than the memorial team activity is the ongoing relationship the PCAs have with their visited congregants. And after a while, I was drawn to consider the PCA role. Essential to trust in these relationships is the commitment to confidentiality and for that reason I will be circumspect about particulars and instead speak briefly about what I have learned. All the PCAs have completed a 3-session training course led by our minister, the most recent of which was this past fall. And many, but not I, have a professional background in a caring role. I'll just say that as a retired financial analyst, I've had a lot to learn. Most importantly, I had to work on the skill of listening. Someone who is emotionally vulnerable due to a situation brought on by illness, loss, or loneliness needs space to express their feelings, if they wish to, which may mean accepting silent intervals in conversation. We listen to validate their story and reflect back what we are hearing. Despite internal pressure to provide answers or fix their problem, we don't offer assurances that we're not in a position to give. And we don't jump in with, "I know what you're going through," because we don't know that our experience corresponds with theirs. We need to hear what they are telling us. So, you might say, what benefit is there to this pastoral care activity if you can't cure ills, conquer depression, or fix problems? Well, my tentative response would be that we offer to companion those in our circle of care on life's journey with its inevitable pain and loss, encouraging them to express their feelings and letting them know that they are not alone. We may, or we may not, find that there is hope to be derived from naming everyday joys and from expressing gratitude for the time we have together. For me, these conversations have contributed to a deeper understanding of the life path that I am on, and that, perhaps, is a form of liberating love. Thank you.
Thank you, Vicki, for sharing some of your story. It's a good reminder that this tremendous gift is available to our members and friends. Perhaps you are concerned about someone in the congregation. Perhaps you are the one in need of support. One may ask for a pastoral care associate for themselves. In times past, some PCAs have asked other members of the team to be PCAs for them as they navigated a short-term crisis or entered a time of bereavement. Wherever I've served in ministry, I've noticed how hard it is for people, especially Unitarian Universalist people, to ask for help, to name our vulnerabilities. Personal pain is an inevitable part of life, perhaps one of the most democratic of human experiences. If you have thought of reaching out, I hope you will consider doing so. A member of the Pastoral Care Associates team always sits by the candle table at the end of each service to be available to the community, or you can just let me know that you would like to be connected with a PCA. Before we finish our reflection, you should know that there's a little bit more to Auburn Sandstrom's story, the author of this morning's reading. I now invite Stephen to pick up where Harris left off.
I'd made that call probably 2 a.m, and he stayed with me the whole night until the sun rose. And I was feeling calm, and I was feeling okay. I was feeling. I can splash my face with water, and I can probably do this day. I wouldn't have cared if the guy was a Hare Krishna or a Buddhist. It didn't matter to me what his faith was. I was very grateful to him, and so I said, hey, you know, I really, really appreciate you and what you've done for me tonight. And aren't you supposed to be telling me to read some Bible verses or something? Because that'd be cool, I'd do it. And he laughed and he said, well, I'm glad this was helpful for you. And we talked some more, and I brought it around again and said, no, really, you're very, very good at this. How long have you been a Christian counselor? And he said, okay, I've been trying to avoid this subject. I need you right now not to hang up. That number you called? Wrong number. I didn't hang up on him. I never learned his name. I don't think I took any of his advice. But I need to tell you that the next day I experienced something I've heard called peace that passes understanding. Because I had experienced that there was random love in the universe, and that some of it was unconditional, and some of it was for me.
When people ask me if I believe in God, I often say that the thing that moves me to say that there is a God are those moments when I witness or receive random love in the universe. These times when, for whatever reason, like Auburn Sandstrom, I feel low, distant from human connection or hope, and some embodiment of care from those close to me or from beyond breaks through. These moments are nothing short of grace. Our Pastoral Care Associates program is a tangible sign that one does not need to be a professional counselor to listen another person towards hope. And as Sandstrom's testimony reveals, one does not need to be in a formal role of caregiving to literally or figuratively answer a call to respond to life's despair with love. When the Pastoral Care Associates met this week, I asked them how they had recently been such a conduit for love in the universe recently, or how they had, without anticipation or expectation, received such love. One person recalled how they somehow learned in childhood that they were unlovable, and yet their partner, in so many ways, teaches them every day that this is not true. Another person recalled visiting a local museum with their young adult child. Somehow, the art inspired them to share with each other in a different, more meaningful way. And the other museum goers around them engaged in thoughtful, personal conversation, strangers all. And another told a story of taking a walk and being stopped by a woman completely unknown to her, a woman with a thick European accent. She told her that she looked like a figure in a painting by a famous artist from her country, and it brought her joy. There is love in the universe. Some of it is here for each of us, and it lives inside each and every one of us, waiting to be shared in only the ways that we know how.
Our weekly offering is an opportunity of dedication. It's an invitation to live our values through acts of generosity. In this way, the offering is a spiritual practice, a collective affirmation of our shared values and a commitment to the mission of this liberal religious congregation. And as Unitarian Universalists, our faith does not require us to believe in certain things, but it does require us to do certain things, which is why it is a long-standing practice of this congregation to share half of each week's collection with organizations aligned with UU values. I now invite Reverend Heather to tell us more about today's Share the Plate recipient.
One thing that makes a place like this sanctuary sacred are the lives honored and remembered after someone dies. It was in this place that we celebrated the brief but beautiful life of Brenda Hansen Mortino, a recent alum of our youth group. Her life ended, as too many do, through suicide. We know that grief changes over time, but it never disappears. At its best, the energy of grief can be used towards encouragement, inspiration, and positive change. It is in this spirit that Brenda's mother, WUS member Ginger Hansen is committing to the Out of the Darkness overnight walk on June 22nd. She and her team are raising resources to benefit the American Foundation for the Prevention of Suicide. The AFPS is this morning's Share the Plate recipient. Their mission is to give those affected by suicide a nationwide community empowered by research, education, and advocacy to take action against this leading cause of death. AFPS engages in funding scientific research, educating the public about mental health and suicide prevention, and supporting survivors of suicide loss and those affected by suicide. Our collective donation will support Ginger and the rest of Team Brenda. There is a link in your order of service where you can learn more about the AFPS and the overnight walk. You can also donate individually to Team Brenda, and you can also join the team. Here are different ways to donate. Those in the sanctuary may give cash, checks, or donate electronically. Text to the number in your order of service or visit our website under the giving page. If you're visiting for the first time, either in person or online, you are our guest. In-person attendees can find a physical visitor card in the pew racks in front of you. Please complete it and put it into the collection plate. Information about how to give online and how to complete the virtual visitor card will soon be shared with live stream attendees through text on your screen. The offering, supporting this congregation, this organization, and our own Ginger Hansen and friends will now be generously given and gratefully received.
By
Those who wish to do so are invited to join in the unison affirmation. We gather not to find ourselves alone, but to use our common power to build a beloved community beyond these walls. We
We've come to the time in our service when we celebrate those among us who have committed to a lay ministry of pastoral care, our pastoral care associates. We will begin with those who have been serving as PCAs for a number of years. I invite forward Lee Barton, Donna Reed, Vicki Coccoluto, and Kim Foley. Please line up right here. And we acknowledge Dennis Brett, who is joining us virtually today. And now I invite forward Karen Caputo, who took part in training a couple years ago and has become active service this year. And I now invite forward Marilyn Wilson, Sheila Rudolph Correa, and Terry Currier. Marilyn and Sheila are actively serving now, and Terry will join the team in the near future at the conclusion of other WUS responsibilities. And I will scoot back a bit so you have a bit more room. Pastoral Care Associates. You've been invited into a lay ministry of pastoral care. Do you commit to this ministry with integrity, compassion, and a full heart? If so, please say, I do.
please join me in reciting together the congregational response printed in the order of service. We thank you for your victory of presence, companionship, and care. We join you as partners in ministry, fostering connections from heart to heart through sharing our own needs, noting the needs of others. We offer a ministry of compassion together. Please rise in body, rise in spirit to join in singing our closing hymn, number 1021 in the Teal hymnal, Lean on Me.
all emerge from, dwell within, are transformed by, and called back to love. May your mind be humbled before this mystery. May your heart grow hopeful by it. May you be sustained by this love always. Go in peace. Amen.
Thank you.